So I was just noticing that I am the anti of all of the current hat trends of the flat brim.
Yeah, you are. You are of a time.
I'm of the time. Yes.
Yeah, I'm
I,
of the same time.
I,
I like.
I,
Well, maybe not that curled, but I don't want the flat.
no.
I'm not happy about the flat.
Although it sort of like, yeah.
You're a hat shaper, baseball cap hat shaper.
Yeah.
Shaper. Yeah, you gotta shape that
I
brim.
mean, if you think about it, when I was playing baseball as a kid, we would roll it in because essentially
Hmm.
it was like blinders for us. So that when we
That's a
were,
good thing. Is
yeah.
that a good thing in baseball? I don't
Well,
even know.
just like it. Well, as an outfielder, it kind of gave me the tunnel
Oh,
vision to see and not get
yeah.
distracted, and also it sort of
Oh,
it
yeah,
sort of
yeah, yeah.
acted as, you know, I couldn't, even though I wanted to play with sunglasses, we weren't allowed to.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah,
I remember growing up and like wanting to be a pilot and just hearing like, well, if you have to wear glasses, you can't be a pilot,
yeah.
right? And it was just crushing, soul crushing, because that week, that's what I wanted to be when I grew up, right?
So
So,
little known fact. So when I dropped out of college architecture school for a while because, as some people do, they run money. Um,
and school costs
and
money.
school costs
I
money.
mean,
And if you're,
it is a
yeah,
business. Yes, right, right. You can't just keep going if you're not paying the
I
money, right?
had debated about going back into the army. And so I went through the steps to look to reenlist and all of that other stuff. What was interesting
Yeah.
is that because I had been out for so long, they wanted me to actually retake the ASVAB.
Okay, what's that?
So it is
Because that's a great acronym right there. Jeez.
the ASVAB. The acronym for the ASVAB is,
Yeah,
I
you have
noticed,
to look it up.
I
Real
am,
real time follow up here.
okay,
How'd you do on the ASFAB?
yeah. So the ASVAB is, help me out here.
You play the Jeopardy theme song
Doom,
while you're
doom,
looking up
doom,
things in
doom,
real time on the
doom, doom,
Google.
doom. Can you just give me the heck? What does it mean? What does it mean?
You gotta ask ChatGPT. You can't. Yeah, can't ask Google that. You gotta ask ChatGPT.
So it is the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery. It is a multiple aptitude battery that measures developed abilities that helps predict future academic and occupational success in the military.
Wow, it just having the word battery in there makes it sound so much more daunting and
Yeah,
difficult,
yeah.
right? It's like it's that thing that's just out of reach and
Well, when people say, "Well, we have to run a battery of tests on you,"
yes,
yeah,
right.
it means that they've got to run a lot, right? So
We have many tests,
exactly.
all the tests, right?
So anyway, so since I had already been through 3 years of architecture school at the time, and a couple of years prior to that before I transferred,
Speaking of batteries,
yeah,
speaking of a battery of tests,
exactly.
I just been through 3 years of architecture school. Doesn't that count?
What was interesting is, so when most of, I don't know, say 17-year-old kids who are thinking about military as a career will be taking the ASVAB test as, you
Okay.
know, and and so I did well enough to get a decent job when I was coming out of high school and going into the army, and did decent enough to get to a decent job. Well, so then, because it had been so long since that had occurred, that test had been taken, they said that I just have to retake it. I'm like, all right, that's not that big of a deal. I was,
It's just like the
I was
AREs.
just like,
I mean, they expire,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
You got the rolling clock. You just don't know
Exactly.
what the rolling clock is in the army.
And maybe this time I won't fall asleep in the middle of it, which I did in
Oh,
the
what?
first one. So I did.
Okay, so this is very different than an ARE
Yeah.
because the ARE you are so stressed
Oh
out,
yeah.
right? You're just on you're just running on adrenaline.
Right,
The
right.
clock is ticking. You've got this many questions. You got to go through it
Right.
2 or 3 times. You got to mark all the questions
Oh,
that you're
yeah, yeah,
questionable
yeah.
about.
Oh,
You got to
yeah.
go back and do them again. There's no chance in hell
There's
you're
no,
going to fall
there is no
asleep in an
chance.
ARE. How does this happen in the ASVAB?
The questions were boring.
You're boring me.
Yes. It's just,
I could just see you raising your hand and you're like, can you?
I
What? This question is so boring.
was like, seriously?
Okay,
This is,
do you have any examples? I want to know. Like, give me an example of a boring
I
question.
honestly,
You're like, I don't know. I was sleeping through it.
exactly. All right, here.
Okay,
They have
you're back on Google.
Well, wait. Yes, exactly. No, they have questions for general science, word knowledge, mathematical knowledge, automotive information, mechanical comprehension, arithmetic reasoning, paragraph comprehension,
I think I could ace this test. These-
exactly, electronics information, shop information, and assembling objects.
Oh my gosh, this test was made for me.
Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
To be
gosh,
quite honest
that
with
sounds
you, I mean, if you
amazing.
think about it, like for people like us that are like tinkerers, and it very much is.
I've been taking stuff apart since I was 3 years old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so what was funny is, so I outscored most of the people when I was in high school, even though I fell asleep.
Even that's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say. Here's the punchline: I outscored people, and I was sleeping in the
I was
test.
sleeping in the test. Now, fast forward to many decades later, and I did take the test, and this time I didn't fall asleep, and I blew it out of the water. There literally
No,
like
I was like, the punchline here is that you scored worse.
that would have been hilarious. So the guy came out, and he
Wow.
was just like, "You can have any job in the army,"
Yeah,
and I was just
he was
like,
trying to get you at architecture
Yeah.
at that point. He's
and
like,
so
we want you,
exactly.
Mr. Phelan,
It's some people
Uncle
see.
Sam.
Some people every once in a great while see the poster behind me that has that on there. But
Let's see if we move out of the way, and then
No.
let your camera focus
no,
on
because the one behind not,
Not gonna
not because of
happen.
the one behind me.
There's other incriminating
There
evidence.
is one
be-
similar
behind you.
to that one directly behind me that you can sort of see there. But it's a little different.
but you're not going to allow it.
No,
You're not going to allow it to focus on that
No,
one.
no.
Yeah, it's art.
it is
It's
art.
art.
Well, it is.
You can't have an
intended to be art.
opinion about art. Look at that. Okay, that's all you get.
That's all
You're
you
gonna have
get.
to pause. You're gonna have to freeze frame on that.
Exactly.
Can't believe you actually allowed that
I know,
right
right?
there. A peek behind the curtain,
The Iron Curtain.
as it were.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the guy comes.
So they tried to
So-
entice you.
so
and
the
say
guy
you could
comes
have
out
any
and
job
said,
you want.
You
in the
can
Army."
have any job, like, And I was like, well, I sort of kind of want to have my old job. And they're like, funny enough, your old job is not available.
You didn't ask the question like, well, what is there? Like,
Well, okay.
did you already know?
So-
or what? Like, because to default back to like, I want my old job.
Well, I wanted my old
It
job.
just sounds a little naive. I'm gonna
No.
put it out
I wanted
there.
my old job because where I left off when I got out was as I was an instructor for my old job. And it was basically responsible for cross-training people who are leaving their jobs or coming into the military in the Patriot missile defense system. And so I kind of liked that. I kind of liked having the responsibility of educating people,
I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I sort of wanted to do that, but
It's good to have a job you like. I can understand.
they
that.
said no. And then they were like, well, here are the two that you scored.
you can have any job you want, not that one.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So they did say, here are the two that you scored the highest, like your aptitude, whatever, there's a bunch of different like acronyms within the ASVAB that,
Of course there are.
and
There's a hierarchy of acronyms.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then like there's this GT, General Technical Knowledge score, which apparently I blew off the charts, which was great. But so there were two that they gave me. And where all this was going was you were talking about wanting to be a pilot. And so
Mm-hmm.
one of the two that for enlisted that they said I scored and aligned to was air traffic controller. And I was just like, and then the other one was not air traffic controller. And so of the two,
What? That's not a job. Not air traffic controller is not a job. Come on.
do I have to say it out loud?
Yes.
So the two that I aligned closely to that they felt like my aptitude, and other factors
Yeah.
were
Get to
air
it.
traffic
Get to it.
controller
Uh-huh.
and interrogator.
Yes.
I'm serious. I
What?
yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Do with
it's
that
like
knowledge
can
as
sit
you
behind-
will.
You can sit behind a computer for the rest of your life, a computer screen, right? Being an air traffic controller, which is what you chose to do going into architecture.
Yeah.
Or you can pick the more human side.
Yes. So
I'm into relationships and communication.
so let me
What does that mean? I'm an interrogator.
I might as well. I already peeled the Band-Aid off, right?
This is a great story, man. This is
Okay,
what the
so-
show is all about right
So
here. Yes.
so then the guy asked me, well, which one
12 years in. 12
Yeah.
years in, we're getting this story, people.
So then the
Jeez.
guy asked me, well, what are you interested in? And I was like, well, since I can't have my old job, which was shooting planes down, I guess I could crash them.
You said
I
that?
said that. He's just like,
He's like, you failed the test.
no, he said, so that's probably why interrogator popped up.
That is, that is
like,
exactly
totally
right.
skip,
Yeah.
without skipping a
There's
beat.
a dark side.
The jokes back and forth between me and him were he was just like, oh, and that's probably why the interrogator popped up.
Yeah.
And so he's,
Acknowledge the dark side.
yes.
Yeah, what are the words here that Palpatine used to entice Anakin to the dark?
So to go,
Feel the dark
all
side.
right, so to finally finish this story and bring it back to where you were.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. This has been
Well,
amazing.
So to be an air traffic controller, I actually had to take the medical exam for that is the same medical exam that pilots have to take. Not to gear me towards obviously flight, but it was to understand flight and all of the other things and all of that other stuff. And so I actually did do that. And one of the interesting things that they did say, because you had mentioned about the glasses, and I've had trouble having other people validate that this was true, but this was what I was told at the time when I was going through these battery of tests,
Mhm.
was that if you sneeze in sunlight, you can't be a pilot.
Okay.
And so in me being blue-eyed, one of the reasons why I used to roll my hat is because I tried to keep all this out of my eyes because I sneeze in sunlight.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, so my youngest is he's the guy in the photographs who's always like, because you're in the sun
Yeah,
to light
yeah.
the face, and he's like, it's literally torture
Oh, yeah,
for him.
yeah.
He doesn't sneeze, but he's just like
I wear sunglasses
this.
all the time.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, you're getting some great still
Oh, yeah.
shots of me right
Yeah.
now, and that is it. That's the thing that I equate it to, but it's different.
Well, actually, what's funny is that when I don't wear sunglasses and I am outside and I don't have a hat on that's helping shade the sunlight, I'm squinting and kind of making the squinting. And when you
Yeah.
squint,
Keep it out. This is why you've ultimately chosen architecture, so you can sit in your dark cave,
well, so
hunched over drawings.
So I'm in basic training and I'm squinting because I'm in the hot Texas sun and I'm squinting, which it also makes it look like I'm smiling. And the drill sergeant says,
You're having a way too good of a time.
this drill sergeant, drill sergeant looking at me. He's like, "What are you smiling
What are
at?"
you smiling about?
And he's just like, "Do you like me? Do you think I'm pretty?" I had to do 150 push-ups on the gravel because apparently I didn't think that he was pretty.
It didn't matter what you answered.
Oh, no.
Even if you did think he was pretty,
Damned
you were
if I
still gonna
did,
do
damned if I
150
didn't.
push-ups.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Because if I said he was pretty, then I'd be doing 150 push-ups. If I said he wasn't
yes, sir,
pretty,
you're pretty, sir.
No, drill sergeant.
You are the prettiest.
No, it was like, no, drill sergeant. Oh, you don't think I'm pretty? No, drill sergeant.
great.
Oh, I'm not pretty. Yes, drill sergeant. Oh, I am pretty. Like forget it, dude. Just tell me what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, just give me the number of
Yep.
push-ups that I have to do
Exactly.
at this moment. Yeah,
And
That's
it was the it wasn't like what is it? It was like not pea gravel, but it was like pea gravel but broken, so it was like sharp. And you're sitting there and
yeah, bare hands.
and you're doing your little push-ups and having it just constantly drive into your hands and yeah,
Lovely.
it was all fun.
Man, you have the best stories. That's great.
It was, those are the ones that I can tell.
Wait, I'm pretty sure that the statute of limitations is beyond. We should literally have story time with Cormac. Maybe it's members only, so you have to. It's behind. We can put these behind the paywall. They're that good that we'll put them behind a paywall, and then they're not just public.
To think of me differently.
You're scared. You're a scared little boy.
No, they would. They'd be like, "Wow, it says so much." They're like, "Oh,
it's interesting.
That's why."
I heard somebody else did this recently with me, where we recorded some podcasts, and they were very concerned about publishing those podcasts. And I'm like, we recorded them. They were. I know it. I record a lot of podcasts. Right. It was amazing. Great stories, tons of wisdom, like a lot of great. And what he said, we spend so much time building the persona and crafting the perceptions, and that this could change that. I was so vulnerable, and it was like I had cracked him open, right? That was the idea. Yeah. That was how he felt, and it was like, okay, now this is all going to get shared, and I don't know if I'm comfortable sharing that. So I think that's kind of what you're saying here. It's like this. You've over 12 years on Archispeak, you've crafted this. You're a hard ass, badass, senior project architect who gets shit done. And you don't want people to know the other side, what's hiding in these corners of your true experiences. This episode is made possible with support from Chaos Enscape. Enscape is a plugin software that simplifies real-time visualization for us in the architecture, engineering, and construction industry. Whether your go-to design application is Revit, SketchUp, Rhino, ArchiCAD, or Vectorworks, Enscape lets you instantly create high-quality renderings by syncing data from your 3D model without additional import or export needed. Easily navigate every aspect of your design in real time and identify and resolve any issues you come across quickly. Plus, you can immerse your clients in VR to provide a tangible sense of the project. Enscape is the trusted choice of over 500,000 monthly users across 150 countries. They are soon launching something special that will make your 3D workflow the best 3D workflow for a special price. In the meantime, you can experience it for yourself for free at chaos-enscape.com/trial-14 or simply by Googling Try Enscape. Thanks to Chaos Enscape for their support of this episode. And now let's get back to the conversation.
Yeah. Well, honestly, no. Yeah. It's just, what's funny is one time I met up with some Army buddies, and we were sitting around telling stories about what we remembered from each other and the experiences that we had. And we stopped and we were like, there is no way anybody would believe that that really happened. And you think about it, it's just like, I mean, there was such interesting things going on at the time that we were in Germany at the tail end of the Cold War, when the Soviet Union still existed, and the Soviet Union had a presence in Germany, East Germany and West Germany, because I was there when it was East Germany and West Germany still. And some of the things that we experienced, some of like the people coming up and approaching us and asking us questions, and then you basically realizing that they're, a Russian agent trying to get information about our, missile system and things like this. And we're sitting there, we're talking, it's just like, there is no way anybody is going to believe us that this is true, that actually happened. And
right.
And sure enough, I mean, when you're like being woken up by CID, who
what's that?
CID is the Army's version of it's Criminal Investigation Division. And, it's basically kind of like the Army's FBI. And they're waking you up in your barracks, asking you questions about somebody who, you had met in a bar. And you're like, wait, first of all, how do you...
Did they pull the light over your face
just like,
and
first
splash
of all,
like a bucket of water?
How do you know that I was like talking to somebody
they know
in
everything.
the bar? And like...
They know everything.
Yeah. Well, they sort of did, because apparently like somebody was there, or they were probably tailing that person. And then that person, because they saw that person talking to us, they came to us. And it was so, I mean,
wow.
Some of the weird things that went on. Like, do you remember the old, I don't know, you remember they still exist, the car company Opel?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know, some reason. So there was the Smell 'em vehicles. And yes, that's an acronym.
What?
Smell 'em.
What? Okay.
Soviet military liaison mission.
Okay.
And
smell 'em.
In some time when I can find where I packed it in, were issued little cards that said, how do you identify a Smell 'em vehicle? And they used to drive around in these powder blue Opals with yellow curtains around every window. And then a highly tinted front glass, and then curtains all the way around, like the driver's side, passenger side, front and back windows, and even the back window. As they're like driving past like your convoys and stuff, you can see like the curtains kind of open a little bit, and like a camera lens sticking out, snapping off pictures and everything else. And then us radioing back and forth to like our lead convoy car and the rear convoy car. And here's another story that like just it's kind of hard to believe this.
Wait, before you do this other story, a baby blue car with yellow curtains does not seem too under the radar. I'm just going to put it out there.
I don't know why. I mean, but that was their choice. With a yellow license plate with a Soviet flag. And
I mean, maybe they wanted you to know that they were.
Well,
I mean, maybe that was a decoy. Maybe the real photography was going on from another angle, but that was the decoy.
It could, but here's one that this just will stick in my memory for all of my years. So here we are, we're driving, and here's this little car, kind of like we're in a 2-lane road, and on each side of it, the cool thing about Germany is they had the guardrails along the side of the road that, because of high speeds and stuff like that, if you hit that, you're not going to like flip over or whatever. I'm not sure, but they had these guardrails. And so, essentially you can't pass on the median because there's a guardrail there. You can't pass on the other median because there's a guardrail there. And here's this big convoy of trucks. big convoy of missile carrying vehicles and things like that, and radar equipment and all of these other things. And so
Normal
normal
stuff
stuff
going
that
down
you
the
just
road.
normally see rolling down the road. And of course, here's this one little vehicle driving, taking photographs of us and everything else, right?
Yeah. Sticking out
And
like a
so,
thumb. It's like a clown
yeah,
car.
so we call up the lead vehicle and say, hey, we see a smelling vehicle that's in our convoy. And so the lead vehicle basically peels off and kind of like backs into that lane, and so they're basically locking them in. And then the rear vehicle comes in and they come in behind them. And so like, here's the vehicle in the middle, and then here's the two cars basically. And then there's the whole convoy. So they can't go anywhere, right?
Yeah, right.
And then for some reason, in between two launchers, the dude takes a hard right and flips his car over the barrier.
Whoa.
Flips and
Gotta
rolls.
get out. That was his eject.
He hit the eject button. He wasn't.
And everybody looked at each other like,
did,
no one's ever going to believe that just happened.
it was just like, did that just happen? Like, what did we just see?
Wow. Oh, jeez.
It was like,
that's crazy.
oh my Lord.
This is straight out of like,
oh
the
my
Italian
gosh.
Job.
It was,
or Ronin or
my
something.
gosh. I mean, it was just some crazy stuff that, like, I was telling somebody a couple of stories the other day, and they were just like, nuh-uh. I'm like, uh-huh. Like,
They didn't believe it.
really? And then,
Wow.
yeah. And it's just, I don't know how we get back to architecture with this one.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like I'm thinking as you're saying this, there's things that happen on projects and people are going to, like, no one's going to believe that the client just said that. Or there's like, this is so hard. And you're like, this is nothing. You can't even believe the experiences I've already had. I think there's two ways you can bring this back to architecture. I will
say, okay, well, so out on a job site one time, we were walking, and basically there was a clear path to walk through the site, but it was walking underneath an elevated forklift that had actually some stuff sitting on top of it.
Yes,
and
sounds perfectly safe.
Yeah, and so.
Right. Where's OSHA?
People started, walking, and they were walking under it, and I like walked way around it, and they were like looking at me like, why'd you walk around it? I mean, like it took you like 2-3 more minutes.
The things I've seen,
and then I told them a story of the
gather around, kids,
of the reason why I don't walk under them, and.
Yeah.
They've never walked under them ever after I told them that story.
They made a pledge. I will never walk under a loaded forklift again.
You should.
That's ridiculous that they would even think that would be like, oh, it's fine.
I know.
What are the chances?
Exactly. Well,
what are the chances?
I've unfortunately seen an experience. Well, I haven't experienced, but I have seen somebody who experienced why you don't walk.
Yeah. I could totally imagine.
Yeah.
You don't even have to say.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to go
exactly.
there. That's crazy. Yeah. No, it's obvious. I mean, the answer is it's obvious.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you don't put yourself in that position.
Yeah. It is interesting, though, is because, like, a lot of our knowledge and a lot of the things that we do as we develop this knowledge, as we're work in the industry and experience construction administration, a lot of times when especially working on a lot of adaptive reuse, renovations, historic preservation, and things like that, the history of construction is interesting. Like, I probably have told you stories about some of the things that I've seen of like building techniques and things like that in Maryland during like the 60s. When,
yes,
in some of the like really, really strange things that they would do that would then, as we're remodeling something and we have to like deal with these things, and you're just like, why would anybody ever do this? Like, this is the strangest construction technique ever. I mean, dog's planks. What's that?
What's a dog? What's dog's planks?
Docks. I believe it's
DOX.
believe it's DOX. but
Okay.
Doc's planks.
Explain this.
Doc's plank,
This must be an East Coast thing. I've never heard of this.
not very many people have, but it was something that was very prevalent as a construction technique to construct elevated floors, concrete elevated floors in Maryland. And this is the
Okay.
only place that I've ever seen it. Now, people have said that they've seen something similar, but they call it something else. But I was taught that it was called Doc's planks. And what it basically is if you can visually imagine a CMU block wall in a stacked bond, so stacking it up,
Straight up. Yep.
but then
Yep.
have two routed channels within that where you have you grout in rebar and
Mhm.
lay it flat. And that's your floor system.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. And it's a
Weird.
tongue and groove system.
Okay.
And it's got these, basically it's a hollow core. And then it's got these two little grooves in them. And then the grooves have got the rebar.
Get the sketchbook
that-
out. I need to see what this looks like.
Yes.
This is
It is.
This is like I try to explain things to my wife, and I want to draw it, and she's like, "No, just say it." This is one of those moments where I'm
ones
like,
that
"No,
you have
draw it.
exactly.
You need to draw.
That you have to. This is absolutely 100% one of those things that it's.
Sounds complex.
Well, what's complex is if you're doing a renovation, and most of the, and you know that you've done this with K through 12, where there's these kind of like levels of renovation. There's like the patch and paint, there's renovation, there's revitalization, and then there's modernization, and then a complete rebuild. And all of that comes with like a level of like cash available from like the state splits the money, and then and then the county pays for a portion of it, and the higher you
Local bonds, state bonds. Yeah.
So like the higher you get to complete renovation or like modernization gets less state money than a revitalization. But the school system wants a modernization, but they want you to call it a revitalization because they can get more money from it, but they,
Yeah, right.
And hopefully people from the state of Maryland's State Board of Education are listening to this.
They're not listening.
But
this happens on every
Well, it
job.
happens
You
on
call
everything,
a room something else.
Exactly.
You just
Exactly.
change the name of the room so that it's ridiculous.
Don't call something occupied. I didn't.
Redacted.
Yeah.
This section
Let me-
of the podcast has been
exactly.
redacted.
Let me black that out a little bit. So with these Doc's planks, you can't like if you're core drilling through the Doc's planks to like say put a toilet room in that you can't cut through the tongue and groove portion. So it really is a 16-inch block that's got tongue and groove on both sides. So it slides into each other, but it also like lengthwise it is a stacked block. There is no tongue and groove there. It relies on basically the steel cables to kind of hold it in place.
That's crazy.
So you can't pierce the steel cables. You can't
You're
pierce
telling me the
tongue and groove.
floor is made out of CMU block?
Yes.
What?
With
Like I thought that's what you were saying a minute ago, and then I was like, "There's no way."
Oh
and
my
now
gosh,
you
it
keep
is-
saying
it
it,
is-
and I'm just like, "What?"
Yeah, let that sink in, because that's what I'm saying. It's like some of the craziest things that I've ever seen. So when we were doing the historic preservation, revitalization additions to Annapolis Elementary School. Now, this is a building that was originally built, the first portion of it was built in 1886. Then it was later added onto in 1894. Then it was later added onto in 1903. Then it was later added onto in 1930. And then it was later added onto in 1977, 1985. And then the adjacent building that we were connecting it to make a much bigger one, was built in 1905, then later added onto in 1930, but then suffered a fire and was renovated.
Takes a special kind of architect to practice on the East Coast.
Oh my gosh. And so then, here we are. In neither one of these buildings, at least a good 70% of all of the buildings that I had to touch and renovate, 70% of them did not have a foundation. The wall just got thicker and thicker and thicker, and only 12 inches below grade did it just
sitting on the dirt,
flat on the dirt.
Nice.
But this was coastal. This was coastal Annapolis, Maryland, where, you have high water tables and stuff. But this was, interestingly enough, this was built on the old shipping docks. There's some pretty bad history of those old shipping docks. But old shipping docks that underneath it, as kind of, let's just call it the stabilization of the site, was old pre-colonial coastal warehouses that they basically just, filled in stone and everything else, and and then just over time built over it. The property was owned by the Carroll family, which was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. So, that was kind of cool, just to kind of get geeked out about, some history and stuff. But the construction techniques, as you saw,
that's a strong word.
Exactly.
Techniques.
Through each of these buildings it was something that was so amazing that you were just like, how is this still standing?
Right.
This is standing by sheer will.
Well, and what's funny is if you try to tear something down, it's really hard, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Like all those nails and all those bolts and whatever going in different directions is doing something magical that you can't really explain.
But I will say that I say this is how is it still standing? Honestly, it was built so well. Also, it was just we definitely don't build that way anymore.
There was a craft to the madness.
But when you had a 30-inch thick, solid brick wall, it's not coming down.
Yeah. Where's it going to go?
It's not coming down.
Where's it going to go?
Although then, when you look at the 1930, they matched the thickness of the wall, but they left a cavity in there and just basically filled it full of rubble. You're like, well, why'd they do that? And then when you went to the mid-70s renovation of the 1930s edition, they built all of the interior partitions out of terracotta block. But then they put, as a wall finish, they put glazed block. But it was a facing glazed block along that. And so what was interesting is they removed all of the lockers, and we're all standing in the hallway staring down, and we kind of see the glazed block sort of leaning a little bit. And then we hear this and the whole damn...
Shouldn't have taken those lockers out.
and we're now talking about...
Those were structural lockers.
They were structural screws because all of that glazed block facing just fell off.
And this is why you don't walk under a
that's why you don't walk under
forklift.
Exactly. And that's why you don't walk under. And that is why you wear your PPE on those sites. But we're talking about a wall that was probably about, the glazed block was about 15 feet tall, and the corridor was easily about 80 feet long. That whole entire facade just dropped off. Now, we were not planning on doing any demo work there. It decided to do demo work on its own.
Yeah, self-demo.
Yeah, it totally did.
The best kind of demo.
Yeah. And then and so then we had to say, okay, can we keep the terracotta block? Because really the terracotta block wasn't structural. but it was
Which
a
is kind of
partition.
infill.
It was kind of infill. So
Yeah.
we ended up we did it. We patched and repaired all of the terracotta block, and then basically just ran some furring strips up and down the walls, and just threw drywall up. But
Well,
it was just one of those things. It's just like I mean, how?
I mean, that's crazy though, right? Because you think like, well, what if, I don't know, that corridor was loaded with
Oh
kids,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's just you have no idea the integrity of all of
Well, when
that
we were
stuff
doing
because it's
selective,
so
when we were doing selective
yeah,
demolition, we were removing things that apparently were holding what that was keeping it in place. Like apparently a bunch
yeah,
of
the lockers.
steel lockers from the 70s.
Hmm.
I will say,
Totally.
steel lockers from the 70s clearly well built, well built.
Yeah, yeah. They
Yeah,
don't build them like they used to
no, no,
because the new ones wouldn't do that. They're made out of 22 gauge metal now, and
exactly,
they would just fold,
exactly.
like a house of cards.
What was kind of interesting is, so I was up in the attic because we wanted to look. I mean, there's like a 30 feet of additional space up there, and we had kind of contemplated if we augment the structure, could we have an occupiable roof? And we ultimately, thankfully, came to our senses and said, no. But
There's so much potential.
as I was up there and I was like looking around, there was in one of the corners of that when they were clearly when they put the first edition up in the 30s, there, people were having their lunch up there and just tossed their lunch up there. So there was a 1930s newspaper crumbled up.
Mhm.
It was balled up around a 1930s Coke bottle. And I have the Coke bottle. Uh, and
Of course
I
you do.
took that Coke bottle.
Ooh, I'll take that.
But then when they were doing the early 70s renovations, apparently when people were up there, somebody was reading a Jet magazine and the Jackson 5 were on the cover, which was
Nice.
awesome. The principal, she took that one.
Finders keepers.
Exactly.
Yeah, I met a guy, a local. He's in the AEC industry. I don't think he's an architect, in air quotes, but he definitely works on the architecture side, and he bought a house in the town that my address is within that town, and it's the second oldest house in the town. So I don't know which one's the first oldest, but he bought the second oldest, and he's like full gut renovation. The city's just happy he's not tearing it down. And so the siding on the house it's literally like a barn. There's no cavity wall. It is just like nominal lumber is the siding of the house, right? And then there's just plaster on the inside, and under the plaster was newspapers. And he found in one of the pulled out down some plaster, and it was 1902. That's when the house was built.
Nice.
So 1902 newspaper, and the main article on that page was written by the owner of who built that house. So cool,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's
Oh,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
like to find that stuff. It's like forensically deconstructing things and being careful as you're doing it, and you find these amazing little gems that trace the history of the actual building.
Oh, yeah.
I
Well, but I
can't
mean,
even
it's like,
imagine it was actually a house, but it was like that's how they built
yeah.
it there in that case back then. I thought it was so interesting.
What's great is it's filled with era newspapers, so you get to
Yeah.
sort of see what the town was doing in 1902,
Right.
which
Right.
is,
And he ran the newspaper, right? He worked at the newspaper, right? And
oh,
what's
that was
interesting now
great.
is this guy's going to go back and renovate this place. And so there is literally no cavity wall. You cannot you can't blow in insulation. You can't tear it all down and put in bat because there's no cavity wall. It's literally plank siding that is the structure of the walls of the house. So he actually is going to build on the outside of the house instead of taking away square footage on the inside
okay.
and providing the R value. It's such an interesting challenge to kind of like nobody had any idea it was like this when he bought it, right? And now you start to take it apart, and it's like, oh man, this is a bigger challenge than I
Yeah.
thought it was. It's like to the schools. I mean, thinking about the schools that you've worked on, it's like you dig out this portion because you're going to add on, and you figure out that there's actually no foundation under there,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's crazy.
And because we were doing a lot of modifications, what was interesting about it is that we end up having to underpin and create a foundation for the building, and to watch the way that they did it in 2-foot increments through hundreds and hundreds of linear feet all the way around the perimeter of this building. But because of the historic nature of the building and the site and everything else, anytime that they were doing so, like we had to, okay, we found out there was no foundations. Plan B or plan A, we've got to now add foundations. I believe at first we were going to do like helical piers and basically put them into the brick wall, but because we were assuming that there was a foundation there, it would have. But when we found out that basically if we tried the method that we were originally going to do, it would have just crumbled the walls. So you basically had to come in, dig out from underneath it, and just build
A piece at
exactly
a time,
a piece at a
because you
time.
can't like leave the whole
And
thing unsupported. It would just
you-
crumble into the hole
Yeah.
that you dug. Right?
Exactly. And so, had new foundations
Jeez.
basically all the way around this place. And it was really amazing to kind of see how we did this, but it was some crazy stuff. And yeah, some of the way that they built, you question, it's just like, well, why did they do that? But then you look at it, you're like, we definitely aren't going to do that we won't do that now. But what's amazing is like the dimensional lumber that they had back then, like nominal lumber, is just like when they had like 4x12 beams, and you're just like, and they're true 4x12s, and they were cutting them out, because like some areas we were cutting them because of the modifications that we were doing to the building. There was one portion in the 1930s, one of the 1930s editions, that we had to basically rebuild the walls. So we cut out all of the interior foundations, we shored up all of the exterior walls, and then basically came back in with a steel frame and pinned the walls back to it. And so all of this old nominal lumber was unused. I mean, like, we pulled it all out, and
Mm-hmm.
I kept trying to convince him. I'm like, just give me those planks right there. Like, let me take all of these and, just drop them in the back of my truck, and I'll take them home. They wouldn't.
I'll figure out
Oh, no.
something.
I think yeah, it was just like, can you just imagine like making like a table or benches or whatever
Oh,
with,
yeah. No, there's a huge market
yeah.
for that reclaimed lumber now.
Yeah.
It's amazing. My dad is working on his house here in town, and it's he's buying a bunch of that stuff that's old barn siding that was
awesome.
white oak, and just planing it down, and it looks incredible,
Yeah.
right? And the stock that came from, like, you just can't get that anymore,
Yeah.
right? Like it's like comparing old growth redwood
Yeah.
2x4s
Yeah.
to the crap that you buy at
Oh,
Home
yeah,
Depot.
yeah.
It doesn't even compare. It just doesn't exist anymore, or it's protected.
Oh, yeah.
And it needs to exist.
Yeah. When you see the stuff that are in these old buildings, and then you walk into Home Depot, like you said, you basically like poke at
It's wet. It's squishy.
exactly. It's like you can leave a
And
dent.
it's doing
in it.
this.
Gosh, yeah. I've been looking for some lumber for a project around here, and you see the cupping and the warping and everything, and it's just like,
Yeah. You have to pick it out board by board
Exactly.
by board.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can't. Yeah. Oh man, we've been all over the map
All
with
over.
this was great story time. I hope it's appreciated.
Sorry if I
by the
scared
audience,
anyone.
because that was fun for me. Good stuff. All right, man.
All right.
See you next time.
Thanks.